I'm Glenn McGuinness, and this is Outburst. On the program, do you plan on getting a fourth COVID-19 booster shot?
Absolutely. The more protection, the better.
I don't think that it's necessary to continue getting vaccinated.
I feel safe enough with 2.
There's a lot of doubts about the fourth one.
But first, becoming a homeowner in this country is more difficult than ever before, with rising housing prices, soaring inflation, and even higher rental costs. It's become less about finding your dream home and more about just finding somewhere you can afford. Potential buyers are at the mercy of a seller's market, and it's impacting people right across the country. So we sent our cameras to find out how a housing crisis is impacting the average Canadian. Our question:
how has the current housing market impacted you or someone you know?
I think we're both in the middle of housing now. We're both young professionals in the city. Rent is extremely expensive here. The rent is only going up. So we've definitely both been impacted by it, and to a greater degree. I think Halifax is in, I don't know.
It's pretty outrageous, the price of a one-bedroom in the city, and I'm in a professional program in law school, and all my friends are paying well over $1,000 in rent, which is on top of our tuition, which is going up by 3% every year. So it just feels impossible to keep up. You can't earn in a summer what you've got to pay to live and get by throughout the year, and then many people take on debt as a result. So it's kind of it's very prohibitory for a lot of young people trying to make it.
In Ontario, the prices are so high in the housing market right now. People are listing their homes at, let's say they listed at $700,000. It's going to sell for well over $1 million. So it's very difficult for anyone who's trying to get into the housing market right now. Even if they think they have the money and the down payment, they're getting outbid, $300,000-$400,000 by other people. So the younger generation is not able to buy a home right now in this current market.
I just graduated and I just started my job, and I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be so good. I could easily find a place to stay. Just be by myself, because I've been rooming with people the entire time here. I looked in the market. Everything's so far above $1,000 just for a one bedroom. It's crazy. It's so frustrating. It's very frustrating. I don't like it.
It hasn't really impacted us. I live in Newfoundland, so it's a little different. But I just actually 2 years ago moved from Ontario, so I understand how the housing issues have impacted people. And I still have young adult children who live in Ontario, so I know that they're trying to save every penny to try to get into the housing market, but it's just becoming increasingly difficult. And I think it's really, really becoming depressing for them, because they only see their life and bringing up a family in a condo or an apartment or a townhome, and that's not what they want. So I think it needs to be dealt with.
It's just crazy, but yet there's all these apartment buildings going up and there's no affordable housing. And I think that's a problem that we're not addressing. And I noticed even more in Halifax, you've noticed more homeless around, because it's becoming a crisis. Because if you think about paying $1,800 to $2,500 for a one-bedroom apartment, that's crazy.
The real problem is the supply, and that's what needs to be speeded up, and I think that's where the municipalities and the provincial government and maybe even the federal government should get involved and try and resolve this, because we need to have the supply, and more people moving into Vancouver. It's usually around 60,000 a year, but the latest figures show that last year 100,000 came over. So where are they all going to live? It's an ongoing problem and needs to be solved.
The lower income people is definitely a big concern. I hope the government will build more low-cost housing, affordable housing.
I can't afford a house. Even if the housing market were cooler right now, I still would be outpriced. Saving up for one day. Hopefully with the interest rates going up, that'll drive prices down, but we'll see.
As a homeowner here in Burnaby, the prices have gone up, so we are happy about that. But at the same time, our children who are in the buying market, it's definitely getting tougher for them to purchase a property at this moment. Although I know that my daughter, who just got married 3 years ago, was lucky enough, after 3 years into her job, they were able to, purchase a property. But it's getting really harder, particularly in Vancouver here, as well as in the suburbs, for example, Burnaby, and even in Surrey, the market is such that for young people it's really getting harder. And that's one thing which I really think that there should be some incentives or some ways for our next generation to afford housing here.
It hasn't affected me too much yet, I guess, because I'm 23, so I haven't really been looking for to own a property. But I guess that's just because of how much it costs. It's just not even a thought to me. And it seems like people my age don't really even typically think about that till like maybe their late 20s or even later on. Just kind of rent. It's just the way it is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like in that age range of people that are looking to buy a house currently. My husband and I moved here after I got married, and we're kind of, looking towards getting a house. I know my sister is in a great position to buy a house, but currently the houses on the market are out of her reach specifically, and so she is continuing to rent when she would rather be in a position to purchase, considering her mortgage prices would be, a little bit more, but similar price point to renting anyways. So it's definitely put people in a tough position.
Personally, I moved from the GTA down to the Windsor area in March of 2015, and found the prices just skyrocketed on an exponential level, and it was really hard to sort of find something in the price range that was affordable. And still looking. Thankfully, I found someone that I can partner up with that I don't have to worry about that anymore. But that being said, if I wanted to do something on my own, it'd be near impossible at this stage.
Like, very few people my age can buy a house without their parents helping them substantially, and even then, it's the people who have parents who are really wealthy. I think maybe 20, 30 years ago, it would have been realistic for you to work hard and then you can buy your own house. And now it doesn't seem realistic, which is kind of disappointing.
The governor of the Bank of Canada has suggested our economy is overheating, with inflation rates higher than they've been in decades, sitting at roughly 6.7%. Tiff Macklem says in order to cool things down, we may have to raise interest rates in order to beat back inflation. Here at home, Canadians are feeling the pinch with higher prices at every turn. And globally, situations like the pandemic or the crisis in Ukraine could make an economic recovery more complicated. So we took to the streets to ask Canadians if they're feeling good about our financial future. Our question:
do you feel optimistic about Canada's economic future?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think this has affected us quite deeply. I think even like tourism has been greatly affected. Travel, especially. Because I'm in that industry, I see it. It's coming back up though. Like, I think people want to travel and people want to get out. But I guess I don't have the answer. We'll see. Yeah. I think a lot of places have opened. Small businesses have shut, which is really sad. So I think, we'll just have to see how it goes.
I think we'll climb out of it slowly. That's part of the reason why I'm a bit dumbfounded by people who don't want to get vaccinated and stuff. It's like, that's our way out.
With Canada, with its resources, natural resources, in terms of economy, I really think that Canada is a good place to be in terms of the future.
I'm a bit concerned, the way we spend money, so I don't know how we're going to pay it back.
I think we're incredibly rich. I don't think that as a nation we have anything to really be concerned about. I think as long as we get a progressive leaning government in, I think that we're in good hands.
I feel optimistic about it. I think, Canada's a strong country, and if it does become a recession, I'm sure it'll take a little bit of time, and the economy ebbs and flows, but if it goes down, we'll bounce back.
Yes, I suppose. I think we're in a pretty good country. We have a lot of opportunities, so it feels weird to complain. I know that COVID-19's hit us all pretty bad, but it's hit everyone in the world pretty bad, and I think we fared pretty well, relatively speaking.
I'm hoping that it will get better because of the COVID crisis. That's really taken a damper on many nations, around the world. What affects one affects all.
So short term, I'm definitely concerned probably over the next 10 years. I think it took about 10 years to recover from the 2008 crisis, so I'm sure we can anticipate something kind of similar with this. But long term, I'm a very hopeful person, so with the right government in place, I think that we'll have a great future for Canada.
I'm super positive about it, to be honest with you. I think we've gone through enough mud to sort of hopefully have a clear path coming up sooner than later. I think we're on the right path, and hopefully we can sort of come out ahead, but I feel strong about it. Yeah, I think we're ready for a turn.
I do feel optimistic about Canada's economic future. When I look at it, I think now, like I say to my husband, because of our age, we're looking at our younger generation and our children and our grandchildren and hopeful that they're going to have a good life and everything's going to work out in the economy. Right now, it's a bit of a struggle with the prices going up everywhere and the prices of gas, the prices of groceries. But I do think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I do feel optimistic that things are going to improve.
Yes, I feel optimistic. I think the Liberals are doing good things, investing in infrastructure, and I think the last budget they released was a big step forward. Lots of investment, so I think we're in a good place.
I do. I think I do. I really do. I've traveled a lot around this world, and sometimes we need to see how the economic situation is in other countries to actually appreciate what we have here. Do I think it's going to be easy for myself, my children, my grandchildren? No, but I do. I am very optimistic. I'm always optimistic about Canada.
I do, because I think that especially the youth are stepping up, and they're wanting to understand the problems that face us, and so I have to be optimistic. Yeah, I think we have probably good youth who are going to develop into concerned citizens.
With how the world is going, especially with the war that's happening right now with Ukraine, I know that Russia especially was supplying a lot of oil to the rest of the world, and now gas prices are skyrocketing. I am hoping, at least, that things are going to get better at the end of the war, whenever the war ends or something like that, or at least the Canadian government will find some type of solution that could help us get through this, so we don't have to, break the bank just to get a little bit of gas.
Businesses in general are doing very well. The ones that are new and couldn't survive this COVID thing, I feel for them. Hopefully they'll come back. But in general, people are spending money.
Which Prime Minister succeeded John Diefenbaker? Lester B. Pearson, Pierre Trudeau, Brian Mulroney. So is it Pearson, Trudeau, or Mulroney?
I think Pearson, Trudeau,
Mulroney, Trudeau,
Pearson,
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 yeah, Pearson,
Brian Mulroney,
Pearson, Lester Pearson.
We'll go with Pearson. I like Pearson.
So Pearson, Trudeau, or Mulroney?
Oh, I think I hear the lamppost telling me Pearson.
It is Pearson.
Yay!
Thanks, guys.
Did you get right?
Lester B. Pearson was the Prime Minister who succeeded John Diefenbaker. Diefenbaker first took office in 1957 with an unexpected victory against the Liberals led by Louis Saint Laurent and forming a minority government. He went on to win an unprecedented landslide victory in the 1958 general election against the new Liberal leader Lester Pearson. In the 1962 general election, Diefenbaker's government was reduced to a minority. But in 1963, things would swing Pearson's way. His Liberal government won a minority victory, putting the Liberals back in power after 6 years in opposition. Pearson would remain Prime Minister until 1968, never winning a majority government.
The conversation around environmental issues can be complicated at the best of times. While there is deep concern about how carbon emissions impact our planet, without the use of fossil fuels, life could become much more difficult for all of us. The Canadian government has promised to reduce emissions by 40 to 45% below 2005 levels by the year 2035. But can a smaller country like Canada make an impact when it chooses to reduce its carbon footprint? And how much do we care about it? We took to the streets to ask Canadians how much the environment is on their radar these days. Our question:
how important are climate and environmental issues to you?
I mean, as far as Canada goes, I'm not quite concerned. Our nation, what we're actually outputting is as bad as what the environment is outputting as far as our trees and our forests and stuff go. I think when it comes to environmental issues, you have to look at a lot of countries like fast-growing third world nations, obviously India, a lot of African countries that don't even have waterway systems, that don't even have garbage plants. My sister lived in India for a number of years, and they literally just burn their plastics on the side of the road. So I definitely think that, you know, it's important for us to take personal responsibility, but I also think that there's lots of other nations that need more support.
I think our reliance on other people's source of energy, i.e. overseas, we should be looking at our own backyard for having better resources that we can, you know, supply to our own country and not having to worry about things coming into our country that sort of put us behind, i.e. microchips. I'm not using it as an environmental perspective, but oil and gas, things like that. I think we should be using our own resources to supply our own country.
And I feel more that our youth is starting to take note that that we have to start focusing on it eventually. Like, we have to start now or it'll just keep getting worse and worse.
Everyone has growing concerns about the environment and the climate and climate change. And I think that these are all things that we should all consider and keep in mind in our daily lives and just try to reduce our own footprint. Like I myself, I'm vegan, and that's one way that I've chosen to reduce my footprint.
It's very important. I think we totally have to be on the ball with it. I think it's a proven fact that climate's changing, and we need to do our part to make the world a livable place in the future. So I definitely think it's important.
Very important. I don't think anybody can ignore the environmental situation. I don't know that, the way things are being handled now, again, I feel like some of these issues are being politicized. Everybody has a role to play. Now, to which extent do government have to mandate these rules? That's a different topic, I guess, or something for another day maybe. But I guess everybody should be worried about the environment somewhere, for sure.
Extremely so. If we don't have a healthy planet, we're not going to survive.
What do you think we should be doing?
Oh, I think we should be looking at first everybody, what can individuals do, and then what can communities do, and beyond that.
Very important. I'm personally vegan for the environment, just because I see how bad that the meat and industry is for the environment, and I try to reuse things, even plastic cutlery I put through the dishwasher so I can reuse it sometimes. So,
yeah, I agree with her too. I think especially we've been given this planet to look after, and we need to be good stewards of it, so whatever we can do to help that, I think it's very important.
For me, very, very important. I think climate and environmental issues, need to be at the forefront. We need to leave a planet that is viable for my children, my grandchildren. So I don't think it's reached the point where we need to be. I do understand the importance of economic stability and sustainability, but it can't be at the expense of environmental issues.
Climate and environmental issues are extremely important to me. I'm a Bahamian, and our country is smack dab right in the middle of the usual route that a lot of hurricanes come through. So global warming and all of the other climate issues are very important to us, because if there is another big, huge hurricane like last time, I don't know how our country's going to respond to it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same, because we both from the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I would say very important, and I would say that that comes from my children. I have 2 grown daughters and now a granddaughter, and they are always talking to us about the environment and how we need to save this planet for the future and for them and for our grandchildren. So we really try to do our best to be on top of that, and I think the younger generation is more into it than the older generation is, and we need to learn from them and listen to them. Just using little things like take your water bottle, not your plastic bottle, and refill it, and they're starting to instill that into us.
They're really important. They are a really important part of our lives, and we try to, first of all, recycle. We come from a country that doesn't usually recycle at home. Your trash, you don't separate them. So coming here and seeing everyone doing it, it's for us a huge change in the culture. We also try to avoid one-time use products, and as well as, we walk, we use public transportation, and we care for the companies that care for the environment.
Well, everything that we do should have the environment in mind. For example,
your use of plastic, your use of extra packaging that doesn't need to be used, your consumption generally.
Continuing extraction of fossil fuels is, we should be working a lot harder as a nation to put that behind us. Knowing, of course, that if you don't have the support of Russia and India and China, our contributions to that effort is really restricted.
According to the Government of Canada, roughly 30 million Canadians, or 80% of the population, are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Since vaccination started rolling out in December of 2020, most Canadians up to now have received 3 shots. And now with a 4th shot on the way, many Canadians will eagerly be lining up to get theirs. But there will still be some who are reluctant, including those who are fully vaccinated. So we took to the streets to ask Canadians if they'll be rolling up their sleeves to get another one. Our question:
do you plan on getting a 4th COVID-19 booster shot?
Absolutely. The more protection, the better. I'm over 65. Why not? It's free. Public health is advising us. And whoever doesn't want to take theirs, I'll take theirs.
Yeah. I work in the hospital, so it's probably going to be mandated for me to do so, but I would do it anyway, yeah. Because it's like, studies have shown that it does work, so I want to be as protected as I can be. And it's also shown that I can't give it to other people as much as I would be able to if I didn't get it, and so I think it's the best. It's doing my personal due diligence by getting it, so yeah.
Absolutely plan on getting a 4th booster shot. I think healthcare professionals need to lead by example, and I think we need to help bust the myths around vaccines. So yeah, definitely going to be the first person in line to get my 4th vaccine.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone should get their 4th shot. It's been shown in studies now to boost your immunity, decrease hospitalizations. We need to trust our public health system. They're telling us to get a 4th shot, so get a 4th shot.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to not get COVID so far, so if I can keep that going, I'll do anything I can.
I do plan on getting a 4th booster as soon as it's available to me. In Ontario right now we're doing 60 and over age-wise and people that are immune compromised. So as soon as I'm able to get my booster, I would like to. I actually am eligible to have mine as well because I had my 3rd booster in November. So I'm hoping that changes quickly, especially for the front line in the hospital that are still doing care and providing care to many patients coming in with COVID.
I guess the timing of the 4th shot is probably something I'd be looking into. I obviously got my 3rd shot, and with the waves, the way that the waves have been kind of happening, it seems like there's one in the winter and then another one in the fall, and they seem to think that these vaccines are good for about 6 months. So I guess the timing would be, we may prolong this one a little bit. I got my 3rd shot around Christmas time, so may wait a little bit longer to kind of catch the fall one.
People that have gotten like 3 shots and still got COVID. So just hoping that if we do, and we probably will get COVID, but at least it won't be as severe. Don't want to be in the hospital right now, honestly. They're all tired, they're all overworked, everybody is stressed to the max.
I don't even have my 3rd right now. I have my 2nd. I'm not sure if just getting more shots will actually help. I think helping people with immune disorders and people are at risk, it'll help them. But I feel like it's kind of like becoming like the flu shot where you get it every year, but you could still get the flu. It doesn't really change much.
I am vaccinated. Like me and a lot of other people that I'm close friends with, the vaccination was more of a mandatory requirement for us to move forward with our lives. So we got vaccinated, made the choice, and I don't think that it's necessary to continue getting vaccinated. Personally, I think that people need to move on from the COVID topic. I know a lot of it has devastated people's lives. Believe me, I was one of the first companies to lose in my entire business because of the COVID-19 pandemic. March 13th, 2020, I lost a business. So I know people have lost family members, but I do believe it's a topic that we just need to move forward with.
There's a lot of doubts about the fourth one. You know, people want to know what's going into their body. That's why you got a lot of resistance. They just don't want this anything because the government says it's okay. Have you done it? Have you taken these shots? You know, like myself, I'm pretty healthy. I eat quite well. Like I try to eat my best, like jackfruit, aloe vera, stuff like that, moringa. You know, things that are good for the body, natural. And I try to look after my body that way.
I probably would. I did get the third one. And I did get COVID about a month ago, and it wasn't that bad. And I bet it was because of getting the vaccines. I was sick for about 2 days. Really, it was just a cough. I didn't have a fever or anything. If there was a fourth shot, maybe I wouldn't get it right away. But like, if I had a lot of free time, like I wouldn't be afraid to take another one or anything. I would be willing to do it.
Yes, I don't want to get COVID-19 again. I got it and it was really rough for a week. I'm also worried. People are talking about what the long-term effects will be, and I really don't know. And I also want to keep, you know, the general community safe, and I think that's the best way to do it, is just to get vaccinated against, I mean, I don't like needles. I don't think anyone does, but you can get vaccinated and then you protect other people, and you also lower your chances of getting really sick for a week. So it just makes sense to get the fourth vaccine.
Absolutely. As soon as I can, yeah.
And why is that?
Because it's our best bet at beating this. So if you ever want to not wear a mask and not be 6 feet apart and not do all that stuff, and get vaccinated, it's our best shot.
I do want to have my booster, but at the same time I do not, because I don't want to have like the symptoms of, like, you know, this after the booster, like being laying on bed. So
I'm definitely gonna get the booster. So we had COVID already, and it was not so severe, contrarily to one of my coworkers who had it, and he was like in bed for 3 weeks, and like, yeah, so it doesn't hurt me to get a shot if I'm protected. So
oh yeah, I think I definitely get one. Yeah, I trust the government as far as like the vaccine mandates go, and if there's a fourth shot and it keeps us protected, especially as I said, I'm in the music industry, so I'm always around people and out at venues, so I got to protect myself, protect my wife, my family. So yeah, so for me it makes sense.
I haven't gotten my third one yet. I feel perfectly safe and comfortable with my 2 shots.
Absolutely. I think for both, well, I can speak for myself, but I mean, you know, for my husband as well, it's just about our own, you know, sense of feeling healthy and ensuring that we are healthy and keeping others healthy. So if that is, you know, going to be the next step for us, of course, I'm going to get my 4th shot.
Thanks for watching this episode of Outburst on CPAC. If you have any comments about this show or any other show, you can find us on social media. You can also find us on our website at www.cpac.ca. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs Channel, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.